Hello and welcome to Factorio for a slightly different version of things this time around. Typically you would watch me playing the game live and I would ramble and gradually, over the course of time, descend into rambling, muttering, general incoherent trying to figure things out. This time around I've pre-recorded everything, largely because frankly, I've done enough videos of me taking on the alien scourge in a bid to grab more artifacts, and so I felt that rather than watch me do this in real time, I would treat you to the kind of ineptitude that you have come to expect, but in a far more sped up version. And as you can see here, I mean, this is a nest that actually I've cleared quite a few times beforehand. And as always, we are attempting the laser turret crawl, I believe is the kind of the official understood terminology behind this approach. Spamming a hell of a lot of turrets inside walls and then following up with a combat shotgun. Now, in order to prepare myself for this particular onslaught, I'd actually gone to the extent of setting up some power armor. Yes, okay, so that's another feature of this particular video is keeping track of just how many times I make a complete hash of things. So yeah, I am kitted up with power armor. I've got some shields in there. It's not particularly advanced. It's pretty basic stuff. I've got some shields in. I've got a defender laser thing sticking out my shoulder showing the aliens what for. But yes, failure count number 2 there. As you can tell, it has given me slightly more confidence than perhaps is warranted. I'm also making use of poison pellets, poison whatever the hell they're called, for the first time. Not with a massive amount of success, largely because I didn't know what I was supposed to be using them on. But over time I actually figured out that those sandworm fellas that like to gob stuff at you are ripe targets for the poison, and as such, chucking a few in there certainly helps to get rid of them. Not least of all when your armor is so pitiful that look, your armor is so pitiful that you end up just getting spat to death, as it were, very quickly. So yes, one of the things that I'd also done was disabled the autosave frequency to not be quite so often, which in this case was something of an error. And while I could quite easily have just cropped out the less successful approaches, let's say, what I did instead was I'm showing you this in all its brutal glory of me getting absolutely rinsed on a regular basis. So I want to talk a little bit about why turret rushing is a thing, and frankly, it's because I'm not one for heavy combat. My appeal with Factorio is largely in the creation of a factory, not so much in the murdering of the alien horde. That said, it's not that overdone, if you see what I mean. It's there isn't too much alien hordage going on, so it doesn't interfere too heavily. But I prefer to tower rush, as it were, my way in, rather than do it manually, because I'm not very good at doing it manually. I mean, I get impatient and charge in with my combat shotty and do what I can, but just as often as that works, it leads to me getting eaten. So the final third of the game overall is almost entirely dedicated towards the gathering of alien technology, of alien artifacts, so that you can complete the research that will take you all the way to building rocket defense and thus win the game. And it feels a little bit excessive. I don't know if there's a way of farming alien nests in such a way that you don't have to put yourself in too much jeopardy. I've heard that Destructor, Devastator, whatever the heck they're called, combat robots can do a pretty good job on that kind of approach. And I'm sure I'll investigate those further, along with upgrades to the power armor that I'm using, because what I've got right now. I mean, as you can see from the power meter bottom right, yes, I can tell my left from right. As you can tell from the power meter bottom right, I haven't got the largest amount of power, so the largest amount of space in this set of armor that you've ever seen. And frankly, in this particular video, we're going to take out 5 different alien infestations, and you know, here we are, 5 minutes in, 6 minutes in, working at quadruple speed, and we still haven't bested this first one. I mean, admittedly, I have died a couple of times, but even so, that's not sustainable. And in the next assault, you will see how things have moved forward. But yes, at any rate, the latter third of the game is almost entirely driven towards finding more alien resources so you can get those purple flasks on board. And it does become a bit of a drag, or rather you become more acutely aware of it when you're recording your progress as you go. Because you think from time to time, you think, okay, right, what am I going to do this time? Let's see if we're doing something different. And it ends up being more of the same. Which is why we're here repeating ourselves a little, but showing the alien attack at a slightly more high-paced approach. And there's me dying again. So that's, I mean, that's 4 deaths on this first base. And I mean, laser turrets are all well and good, but their range doesn't extend that far. And unless you go utterly pacifist and extend your tower creep from inside, which is what I end up doing, rather than putting yourself in harm's way, what you do is you extend the walls by a couple of tiles at a time, laser turret up inside that, remove the old walls, bang out some fresh ones. There is a better way, but at this time we're doing it in a slow, methodical, risk-averse kind of fashion, with some extreme lumberjacking thrown in for good measure. And yeah, it works. And there is a certain amount of satisfaction knowing that the Viters can't do anything against you. But they spawn at such a rate that there really isn't that much choice other than to tower rush. Now, obviously, in the latest versions of the game, you do have tanks available. And frankly, after I finish this playthrough, that is one of the first things I'm going to try out. Typically, I started this playthrough in the last days of version 0.9.8, rolls off the tongue, and since that time the game has updated repeatedly. But I'm one for sticking with the version you start on, and as such, that's what we're saddled with. I'm optimistic that we'll be able to make it through to the end of this one in maybe, let's say between 5 and 10 more episodes, if I stop hanging around and if I get on with it. The lack of iron remaining in my immediate base vicinity is something of a concern, but I'm sure we're not a million miles away. And so here we go. I mean, you know, we're still taking out this first alien nest, this alien complex, and despite there only being 2 spawners left and one of those sandworm spitty fellas, I'm still too much of a wimp to go in there and manfully deal with them in the way prescribed. See, there we go again. Those sandworms are vicious. They will take you out in no time flat, which is where the poison capsules really come into play. Lob a couple of those in, and the sandworms snuff it, with you happily out of range, lurking, drinking tea with your towers for company, with your turrets for company. Now, I did have concerns previously that if you waited too long before picking up alien artifacts, that they wouldn't be there waiting for you by the time you actually wanted them. Now, I'm near convinced that that's a thing, that actually the alien artifacts, if you wait too long, will disappear. So, I mean, this is after the nest, the spawner. After the spawner has been destroyed, and you wait another couple of minutes, the artifacts will disappear. Can anyone confirm or deny? Because I can't quite remember. At any rate, I mean, half of the deaths that I incur in this particular video are going to come about through me charging in and grabbing the artifacts just to be on the safe side, because I don't want to go through all of this strife without without actually getting what we came for. Okay, so here we go. On to the second assault. Now, as you can see, these are rather uniform bases we've got going on here. This is after I've discovered templates. And the templating approach means that, well, you need roboports in the way, but each of these bases are made up of 2 separate parts. The reason you go with 2 separate parts is quite straightforward. Aliens will eat your laser turrets quite happily unless they're defended. So I've gone with an approach of setting up individual defences, as you can see. So around the outside here, we set the robots to build the walls, and what I haven't highlighted is actually the power. So we'll tell the robots to go in and build up all the walls, which the aliens won't care too much about. They might have a bit of a nibble if you get too cheeky with it, and the necessary power in order to support all of the turrets on the inside. So you wait until the outside is being built, which is quite a spectacular thing to see, really. You get an entire fleet of logistic robots fleeing across the map carrying bits of brick. And then once it's done, or once it's halfway done, you set the second template up, which is everything on the inside. So nothing but turrets. It's actually a very effective approach because, as mentioned, the aliens don't actually care too much about the first section that you automatically build, and they'll leave the walls alone for the most part while the robots are getting them established. Now, as you can see, I have turret crept. Oh, see, look at that. Correct use of tents. Turret crept up from my main base back towards, and no, you're not going mad. This is exactly the same nest again. Something I hadn't appreciated before is that the aliens like to migrate across the landscape, find somewhere nice to live, and go and build up there. Well, that's tremendous, except on my particular map, the place they want to live most frequently is in the same place. So, I mean, I guess I could have just built defences up to wait for them to resettle, push a little bit further forward, take them all out, harvest their goodies, and trot back to base with a song in my heart and a backpack full of alien artifacts. But no, I decided to eradicate them all and stop them from ever living here ever again. It's possibly going a little bit too fast for you to see, but we've got defender robots kicking around, and dear God, they're about as useful as a chocolate teapot. The basic combat robots are worthless. Now, maybe I'm using them wrong, but you spawn 5 of those things flitting around your head, you would hope that they will just trash everything that comes anywhere near you. No, they're utterly useless. With their little pew pew pew, they do less damage than half a dozen shots from your combat shotgun. And as such, I use them just to add a little bit of fire support. They are hardly a frontline weapon. So where are we up to here? So this one's progressing quite nicely. As you can see already, by using the automated robot approach, we have already taken down quite a few of the spawners, probably over half by now, and it's just a case of getting a little bit closer. In fact, I'm being impatient again, and shotgunning my way in, and there we go. Look at that, all done. Bosh bosh, cleared up. Who's the man? Welcome to the new world. Right, here we go, on to the third mission. So with our automated base construction plan now working perfectly, and with the ability to then clear up after ourselves by telling the robots to go pick up everything they can find, we're now pushing out to the west. Yes, west. That's where we're going. We're clearing out to the west of the main base in a bid to grab more artifacts. My hope here had been, of course, that I would be able to grab enough artifacts in a very short amount of time so I didn't have to do it again. No such luck. I mean, pricing up the amount of purple flasks I need to get to completion now, there's still a fair way to go. Still a fair way to go. What I couldn't figure out early on here is why they were ignoring me completely and going straight for home base. Anyway, here we go. Here's the aforementioned fleet of logistic robots getting things done. Construction robots, not logistic robots. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't it just lovely watching them do all the hard work instead of doing it yourself? I know people have suggested in previous videos that maybe that was something I ought to look into doing. Well, true to form, I decided to find it out for myself, and thus I have. So the actual base we're after is slightly further to the west. So we get the robot. Oh, here, there we go. Aliens coming in. So we need to do a bit of deforestation. This is now extreme lumberjacking with robot support. It's not actually that big a nest here. I'm making something of a fuss about nothing, but you know, it all counts. It all goes towards the eventual goal. I would have thought to get through to the end of the game, I'm probably looking for, let's have a think, probably about 5,000 purple flasks from here. I haven't totaled it up, as you can no doubt tell, otherwise I would have been able to come up with a precise figure. But 5,000 feels about right, and I think by the end I've completed these 5 nest clearances. We're up in the 200s, the 300s in terms of alien artifacts. Some of which will turn into materials to go into power armor. Others, of course, will just stick straight in the machinery to turn into purple flasks. So that's, I mean, look at that. That's cleared out in no time flat. I mean, there's another hive to the south, but frankly, you know, no one's putting up a fight at this point. So there we go. You know, cleared out. Bosh bosh. Pretty straightforward. In you come, lads. Take it all away. Package it up. Ready to go again. And lo and behold, here we are again. This time, attacking to the south. Now, there's quite a bit. You can probably make out on the minimap there that there are quite a few alien infestations to the south. But by this point, I've kind of got the building of robotically enhanced defense structures down to a fine art. So overconfidence is something you need to start being wary of. After all, the robots are putting themselves in harm's way. You can just kick around and occasionally blast things with a combat shotgun. Ideally, not your own walls, which is something that, you know, I'm somewhat prone to doing, but what the heck, I've got plenty more walls. Stone is not something that is in short supply. One of the frustrating things, of course, is they do have to go get it from somewhere, which means that you're going to end up in a situation where you're going, I'm going to win this just as soon as the robots arrive. Anytime. Robots turning up anytime soon. Turning up soon. Robots, yeah. Lots of robots. Here they come. There we go. Finally got some lasers. I'm not going to die now. And you end up doing that quite a lot. And when you start becoming, let's say, a little overconfident in how you're performing, you find yourself overextending. Yes. Well, okay. Let's rephrase that. I find myself overextending. I'm impatient when it comes to taking down the alien horde, because it's not something that feels particularly productive. It feels like something mandatory. Oh, and the counter there escalating to our 6th death. That's what I mean by overconfident. Should never have done that. To be honest, that's a little bit early to be sticking a roboport up there. It should be covered by the previous one. Yeah, but that's a little bit foolhardy. In come the lads, build up the walls. Everybody's happy. Lasers coming in anytime. Come on, lasers. Come on, lasers. Oh yeah, what you witnessed there, you may have to rewind to do it, but what you witnessed there was me experimenting with a flamethrower, and it's rubbish. Don't bother. Flamethrower, forget it. Is it any good at taking out alien bases? I've no idea, because frankly, by the time I get that close to the alien base, I'm all about the combat shotgun. All combat shotgun, all the time, frankly. And yeah, I'm not going to muck about with the flamethrower that is quite costly to make the fuel for. The fuel doesn't last very long, and it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. It doesn't set aliens on fire, leading to a situation where you've got flaming biters running around the map. I would pay money for that. That would be an expansion I will happily opt into. But, as it turns out, not so much. It is kind of handy for you know, rampantly shredding trees without filling your logistics system full of wood. But even then, no, I just wouldn't do it. Frankly, I'd rather tell the robots to go and pick it all up. So there we go, lasers firing away. When I originally conceived of this high-speed video, I thought about doing a kill counter for how many of the beasties I'd wiped out. That way you could go, you know, failure kills 3,500, aliens kill 8. Sadly, of course, after 5 minutes of trying to keep track and a pen and a paper standing by to make a tally of how many I was killing, I decided that was far too much effort. So just take my word for it when I say that, like, I killed a lot of aliens over the course of this video. I mean, a lot. You know, in the hundreds, if not. I'd be surprised if I didn't top the 1,000 mark. Actually, no, maybe I didn't. But the sheer volume of bitey folk coming at you is unamusing, let's say. So there we go. That's excuse me. That's another one cleared out. One more to go. Jolly good. Or is it 2 more to go? Oh no, there you go. As the handy titles tell you, it's the final battle. So as you can see, bottom left, quite a big nest. This is not one for mucking about. This is one for taking it easy, going in methodical, making sure you're packing enough of everything, not just leaving roboports exposed where anybody can eat them. Oh, look at that, double walling roboports. You know, that's belt and braces behavior right there. I did check earlier on to see exactly what the power drain was like, and I think it's fairly safe to say the power drain is significant using this approach. So much so it will shut down the rest of your base, pretty much fundamentally. I mean, you'll be able to run probably the rest of your laser turrets as well, unless you've gone absolutely banzai with them. But for the most part, you are going to see a hit in production. Now, I mean, if you play like I do, and I don't see why you would, clearly you're smarter than me, you've got so much stuff kicking around in reserve that taking out 20 minutes, an hour to go on an alien rampage, it isn't going to cost you too much in the grand scheme of things. But here's the bigger problem. Now, when you come across a nest this size, they spawn so fast that unless you purposefully get more stuff building all the time, I don't see how you could possibly take this stuff out. I mean, I've yet to see how good the high tier power armor is. I think I'm using the second level stuff at the moment, so I haven't seen the max level, and I understand that exoskeletons give you a little bit more space, so as soon as I get to that point I will experiment thusly, but without, some kind of wrath of God type weapon, I fail to see how, without turret crawling in one fashion or another, you can take out a base that size. Yeah, I mean, it got to the point with this one that I even had factories manufacturing laser turrets to keep the little robot chaps suitably topped up. I apologise for not having hit Alt before running back into base, or maybe I did. Didn't look like I had. If I hadn't, that was largely because when you die this many times, it always turns Alt back off again. Alt, for the unaware, not that anybody who's watching this is unaware, but for the unaware, Alt shows what an individual building is actually working on, or what a storage chest has within it. For those of you in the videoing of your factory experience, fraternity, it's good manners to turn on "this is what my stuff is making," because it allows the viewers at home to get an insight into what you're actually doing. Now, there always comes a point when you are crawling forward that you finally start to do a bit of damage to some of the spawners, and you think, hey, done a bit of damage to some of the spawners here, this one's not going to last that much longer. And sure enough, there goes the first spawner now. And then the temptation is to kind of go, well, that's going to significantly reduce the number of reinforcements that I'm going to come across. I'm just going to go running in like a lunatic and drop the rest of them. Well, when you're facing, I mean, I didn't get an exact count, but I think it's possibly 10 to 15 spawn nests as is happening on this one. That's still a hell of a lot of aliens, and way more than you can successfully handle. I mean, look at it. They're just it's spewing aliens all over you, and as such, I really don't advocate any form of nonchalant charging in with a combat shotgun expecting it to go well. Instead, get your laser turrets up, get them protected, and lamp them from a distance from behind at least 2 layers of lovely stone wall. And stone wall is lovely. Yeah, I mean, there's precious little more to see in this one. As you can tell, you know, this one is going to be a success in the way the other ones are. There is a certain amount of overconfidence that comes with a system that works, and of course a certain amount of foolishness that comes with the belief that the alien artifacts you've left on the floor are going to decay if you don't pick them up quickly, which, coupled with a very rapid alien spawn rate, is a recipe for the reloading on a scarily frequent basis. Such is the nature of the beast. I mean, we've only died 8 times so far. That's not so bad. Thank God there isn't permadeath. That would be kind of lousy, and I very much doubt I would have made it this far. Well, in fact, I definitely wouldn't have made it this far. However, this is the first time I've played with templates, and frankly, I'm a fan. I think after I've finished this playthrough, there is a lot of experimenting I'm going to be doing with templates. I think there are, not necessarily in the case of efficiencies, but I like the idea of building bases in a tiled or a pre-manufactured fashion. Look at this, what an idiot. I mean, look how low my health bar is. Just asking for trouble. So as the shield's all gone, somehow still alive. So there you have it. 5 alien bases destroyed in not an awful lot of time. I think this is probably 90 minutes worth of playtime all in. I know, madness. Anyway, with the base being cleared up now, tell me what you think. Do you like this rapido approach to a Factorio playthrough? Or would you rather have the laid-back standard that is my norm? Either way, we'll be doing laid-back standard next time around. But please do comment if you like this version, if you don't. I'll catch you again soon.